Konbanwa, everyone, and welcome once again to another Friday stream. I know what day it is. I almost said Saturday for some reason, but it's Friday. It is Friday, guys. It is Friday. But hi, hello, welcome. We are once again heading into Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. We're still playing the game for one thing, and we are still in the fifth and final case. I believe we are heading, if I remember right, we are heading into day 2 of court, right? I think that's right. For sure, because we finished up the investigation where we got the fingerprint, not the fingerprint. Well, we did get fingerprints, where we got the aluminum powder. I think it was the powder basically to get fingerprints. We went dusting around in the like the locker room for evidence. Yeah, I think that's right. So we should be heading into the next court date. %90 sure. 90% sure. I'm kind of hoping, fingers crossed. Again, I don't remember how long this freaking game is, or where we are in the case, or how long it will take, depending on where we are. But we are going to finish up this freaking game. I swear to God, if it's not this week, it's gonna be next week. I'm now going to start the game. Get it all loaded up and ready to go. Let's just get into it. Once I find the game on my screen. There it is. Okay. Alright. Okay. Oh, we're on day 3. Okay. I think there are only 5 days total in these games. Question mark. But like, I say that, and each one is like an hour long or something. So I don't know. Oh, it's Emma. So what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. That's not good, because we're generally pretty confused during all these cases. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time, and a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Yeah, that's a thing. It's like a locker room murder, but worse. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. Hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana! Don't tell me you... Much to my regret... Oh, I think I skipped something. Oh, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Sky. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Oh, you know, his fingerprints smeared across every conceivable... blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? Hey, you got it, Emma! Good job! You better fucking believe it, baby. My experience is either this will either be a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably going to be a bad thing, though. We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Sky? Oh, fuck it. Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Well, I'm gonna do it, alright. I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do so much. You're not gonna believe how much I can do. I'm gonna do a lot. Why I'm doing this voice, I don't know. But here we are. The court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... No, I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department for the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. It's obvious he has a twin. Sky versus Sky. No, I'm not versing myself. Lana Sky is our client. We're on the same side. She is not the prosecutor. I mean, she is a prosecutor, but she's not the prosecutor we're going against. Well, that's not physically possible, is it? Oh, yeah, this voice is all over the place there. What's more, I heard the victim from the ovens just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow. This is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder of the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Like, Edward, you can't say that! I cross-examined a parrot, like, 3 months ago. Sky versus Edward versus Sky. Again, there's no second Sky here. She's not actively... whatever. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, unlike us, who are like college students scrambling to get together an essay at the last minute. Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? It's called faking it till you make it, Mr. Wright. God. Very well, very well. Let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Like, I'm going to call the murderer to the stand. Oh, it's Meekins. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is that would be murderer, sir. It's like, Meekins. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. My girlfriend will kill me when she finds out. I'll not kill anyone again, sir. You gotta believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is, sir, I'm what you'd call part of the younger generation, sir. A person who actions adults can't possibly comprehend. I'm what you call one of them Zoomers, sir. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that in order. Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. You can't fault him for lack of enthusiasm. Crime report, sir. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen, and I rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. Like, get the fuck up! What are you doing? So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you. Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Mika's family motto, sir. So I shot him in the face. I see. Then you fainted, and a colleague helped you regain your consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. Which means we're gonna press, and press him like a new suit. What do you mean by... Before he's even started talking. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. You're in charge of hiring them? Good lord. Yikes. Now there's a scary thought. Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the chief of detectives, sir. Jesus Christ, this fucking demon. It's undulating. It haunts my nightmares. It haunts my waking dreams. Every night I see it there. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. And then I killed a man. I see. Sounds like a very important mission. After the awards ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around. His voice is devolving. Then I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? Spot a suspicious person with a man out of the room. I don't know why. I really, really love doing Meekins' voice. It's just, I think it's because it's so silly. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. It's not the tie, it's something different. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? There it is! I found it! This is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 4989-596. That's my number, sir. It says it right here on my ID card around my neck, sir. I see, huh? But the number 4989-596 is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. I went to the bathroom and came back. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room, and the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir! That's when I spotted the man on the security screen, and I ran in there, bloodthirsty, ready to give him what for. And boy, did I give him what for. I'm having way too much fun with it, man. I don't know why. I think it's just because of the whole... Yes, sir! I'm a crazy blooded murderer, sir! Making myself laugh. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir! A knife! That's how I killed him. I stabbed him 28 times! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would run into. That's when I reacted, sir! Swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. I read that as strangling him to death. Oh god, it's affecting my vision. I'm seeing hallucinations everywhere, guys. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. What exactly do you mean when you said you did it? Oh, shit, hold on. Didn't realize I was still hovering over the options there. I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. This man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. Then I hit him with the classic judo chop. You took his knife? Spun around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. Cool guys don't look at explosions or when they're disarming their opponent. Let's see. He must have been desperate. Next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir! Oh, God. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up with the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. I came around, though. I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. Oh, boy, guys. Oh, we're in it. We're certainly in it. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Like, do we? Fucking hell, I don't. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell.
Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir.
Oh, right. I remember this part. The chief. Delivered it? What is that, a videotape?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It's a relic of the past, sir. All the kids use DVDs now. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake.
I just do what I'm told, sir. I mean, it's the only thing I'm really good at. That and killing people.
Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me.
A video of a real murder? Just what are we getting ourselves into? I'd argue we're getting ourselves in the video of murder, Phoenix. Ah, yes, this brings back... Oh, Jesus Christ, the Blue Badger.
Whose bright idea was it to stick it right in front of the frickin' security camera?
Okay, yeah, there's Goodman. Oh man, this is that early 2000-ish. 3D, brother. Oh, yeah, good, great, glad, I'm glad. Just fucking block his entire face. Beacons, you have made this irreparably hard on yourself, dude.
Sir, please stop! Oh god, my hand, sir! That's it!
Alright, there's a lot to unpack here, and I don't just mean the Blue Badger dancing in front of the video. Fucking even Edge was like, what am I looking at here? Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How could we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us?
What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire criminal affairs department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir.
Why am I not surprised? This isn't going smoothly. I need to take a look at that fucking videotape again. Hold on, let me see that fucking thing. There's a lot. Oh, shit, we have a lot of evidence. Like, a lot. Okay. I can't fast forward this, can I? Can I? No, I don't think I can. So I've noticed that far left locker there did not have the scrap of cloth hanging out of it. That's really what I wanted to confirm there. We'll have to come back to that. This tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room and some sort of activity to Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony shall suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir. As you wish, sir.
Yes, please testify again, Meekins. There's a lot here.
His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it.
Is this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have had to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. I wish to look at that videotape once more. Wait a minute. What I'm looking at is right. Its indicator lamp lights up when it's open. Oh, okay. Hold on. We might have something here. What makes you think it could have been him besides that? However, the most important detail is not shown in this video. The man's face. Sir! If I may say something, sir! Please do. After all, you're the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify to this enough, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is... unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. I have already one step ahead of you. There's a big problem here. Regarding the information contained in this videotape, there's one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? The contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth. I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. You want me to point it out? Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. You've got it! I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us the contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright! It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't mind too many times! I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Oh shit, okay, we're going right into it. Fast forward! Buzz! Present. I fucked up, god damn it! Okay. Play the video again. We will this time actually put the fucking hand on the thing before I hit present. Ah, there we go. There it is. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. Sir, did you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. Fucking Blue Badger song in the background really is not helping things. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. And back the other way. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. Anyone sick of this music yet? Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit! Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Ah! Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered. And the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know, it must have been broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh well. Just goes to show novices should keep their mouth shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor. Yes. Why was the locker locked? Me, Your Honor.
Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field.
What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator?
Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor?
Something jammed the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video.
Yeah, I thought so too.
There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Oh. Ah, where's my mouse? There it is. There it is. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when the doors are open. I have to fall out and roll great distances when I open my car door, sir.
Do you open it while you're driving?
We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 to 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, the tie chokes me.
Meekins, you are a fucking mess. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description.
But, sir, by insulator, you don't mean...
I think I finally got this figured out. Very well, will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? Man, if it wasn't like, so blatantly shown in the fucking video, I would never have guessed it. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir, it would appear so, sir!
Order, order, order! So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this.
Sir! Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir.
Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. Do it now.
There's one thing that proves a man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card.
Did he, though? An ID card record. I see. Let me look at my freaking thing here. I don't think we present the card, mainly because I don't think we have it anymore. Yes, we do not have... No, we have his card, but... Oh, yeah. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 514 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is used only for storing certain cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. I'm already a hedgehog. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination.
Meekins, you dumb fuck, I've got you in a contradiction! You're done for!
Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir!
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It is a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. Lost item report? It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Oh shit, it's getting heated now. Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video was fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... Well, I guess that's right. Oh, fuck, we walked right into his trap. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago, you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't gonna end well. Well, well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video was a fake, which means the murder did not take place at the police department on 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The murderer being Miss Lana Sky, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! Damn it. Edgeworth, why do you think so good? I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered, and where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... It's like, I know. It's like, fuck, I know. What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? When in doubt, object. Objection! One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. It did show Meekins in a crumpled heap in the corner, though. Which is admittedly very funny. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, a large amount of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses would be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright? Do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify. What is his or her name? That'll be Mr. Jake Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We should need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Ba 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 ba. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting or anything, pals. Thank you, Gumshoe, for cutting the tension so subtly. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal. Make a detective run around while on duty. And top it off, you call me here. I've been happier than people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. Hey, 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 I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh, 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 oh. You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? And leave them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. This guy was a witness? Joe Dark killings. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. I murder my cereal every morning. What is going on here? Okay, close. Okay, Joe Dark, sorry. Serial murder, sentence to death. Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall, Jeb Bay. Hold on! Wait, what? Neil Marshall? Take note of that. That might be important. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses Lana Sky and Emma Sky. Investigation Task Force. Executive investigators Damon Gant, Lana Sky. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigator Jake Marshall, Evil Star. Ooh, there's a lot in here. Okay. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma! But why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana! SSL-9 incident. Is that... That's the classification number police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... the Joe Dark killings. The... Joe Dark... No, Lana! That's over with! No! Emma, wait! Oh, she ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. It's like, I am deuces out. I am gone like the wind, brother. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Really a star-studded case here. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't just be a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I'd better take a good look at this file. Ooh, man. I was just handed a bomb in the worst way. Alright, back to the trial. Now we got Jake on the stand, which means I get to do my fucking Texas accent again and fail horribly at it. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Yeehaw! It's Jake Marshall! Prospect. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, seeing as you wander in the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the distant sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said it was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Can you not sass the judge, man? Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He is not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Gee, thanks, Judge. Let's see. Job, let's get that. So, let's make rounds. Yeah, I don't think you were, sir. And we have very, very convincing evidence that you weren't. I didn't want to check them. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crib. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. Only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. God, he's even got cowboy boots on. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation, then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints. Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints, found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. I feel like you did. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you... How did you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprint was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint locker all this time without ever knowing it. Okay. I want to go back. Wait, what do you mean he was wearing gloves? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, having to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Man, it wasn't me in that video. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you could show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Yeah, no, I got evidence for you, buddy. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. I think I know exactly what we're looking for here, because I pointed it out earlier. No, should be after he's down. Yeah, okay. Right there. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll do not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh! The white cloth! It's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that's the only... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh, yeah? Now I call your bluff. You say open that locker, now prove it. I'll just present the locker to you, dude. Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Ole! Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. If he's not in the evidence room, and he's not Meekins, aka the killer, that leaves only one possible explanation. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? But that's where the victim Detective Goodman was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir.
Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond?
He suddenly pulled a knife on me.
Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man was Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. I've got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. And I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. So obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps that video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. So I assume it's gonna have to be after he enters the room, so we'll fast forward to that. Okay, drops the glove. Doesn't seem to be anything there. Officer Meekins. Right, comes up on him. Okay. Oh, hold on. Hey, that's important. Oh, hi, hello, welcome in. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, although I don't know to what end. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. I'm good, how are you? Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Get to what case is it? This is the last case. Rise from the Ashes of the first game. Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. All right. Seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. Wait, do we have to cross-examine this? I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID card and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. I guess he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Okay. I don't really think we have anything to... We don't have anything to present, so we might have to just press everything here. When you say it, you mean... You even have to ask, partner? SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the case's lead detectives can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why Why did you plan to take out the evidence? Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera? And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that lock yourself. But you could, because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry that it turned out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... So you did your research beforehand? Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all has gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in the struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day...
But the blood found at the crime scene the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What are you, blind? The victim shown in that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
So you stole the evidence from the locker?
Actually, no, I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor.
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner. It's a free country.
Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer, this is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with.
The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
Can't just forget the SL9 incident.
I do not know why, sir. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take a look at the files.
So, can I do this?
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL9 incident file here. Name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago,
he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? A prosecutor?
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed.
And the case fell into your hands.
But what's his relation to you?
He was
my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, then the deputy chief of police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
I forgot how creepy he looks.
Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed.
He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records.
What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions?
There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up.
No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder at the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. Oh god, it's all being turned around on us again. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Emma! Your Honor! Wait! Emma! The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings. Now that you mentioned them, the names of both Sky Sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'm sure there should be clue find, whatever. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry. I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, only traces of blood those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If you can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Now, time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Actually, I want to look at something real quick. The freaking big head is blocking the locker. Can't wait. If it's blocking the locker, there's no telling when that could have gone there, right? Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be more of use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. I've ever needed to concentrate, it's now.
What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing?
I think there is. And remember, when in doubt, always object.
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
All this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? This fucking demon we've been dealing with since day one. Of this case, not of the game. What about that piece of plywood?
The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here.
So
watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime.
Well, what?
Ugh! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
What? So that means, just exactly what does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found in that locker.
Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in?
Just one moment, I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation.
On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room,
blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. Problem is, the other time. That's true, even for his cut hand, the amount of blood that we found was incredibly excessive. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown in this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found in the locker.
So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened,
when did it take place?
I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred.
When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that could show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence?
What shows when the first crime took place?
That would be...
Oh. Yeah, the ID card record. There's a whole 30 minutes before Mike Meekins even shows up, and a 20 before Edgeworth does. Not to mention, for that one, that entire...
Okay.
The crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card?
Oh! The ID card record!
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ha! Ha! Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out. It couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood for the first crime scene was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at this chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 77777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who's a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous! Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes. No, not to you. To her, the defendant's sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't! I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Ooh, that's an uproar of the crowd. Order! 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 Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Bum bum bum. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Yes, I would like to save my progress, please. Thank you. Alright, so that's both halves of the trial, and now we're on to a next day of investigation. Oh boy! Oops. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dart killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dart convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dart's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. And he murdered Officer Marshall's brother. He left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dart tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dart trial. I didn't see that one coming. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for this season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dart. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dart tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture. I don't remember the moment when Dart stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Well, Alan forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could just have testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though we may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? This dude's got like an onion hairstyle, what the hell? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any. I see. think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective office rooms and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly! Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Tart case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her. Sounds like we're heading to the detention center. Anytime I gotta stretch. Holy crap. Oh, goodness. Goodness. Hello, Lana. Lana? Mr. Wright? It seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing with foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believe that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. Whew. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing! They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Damon really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to his resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was in second command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. We had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gamp and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies. Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her, after all. Her sister must have gone through... Can't blame her, after all, her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. That case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. How do I get there? I guess we go to the police department? Or criminal affairs, whatever the hell this is. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. Chief Detective seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's Jake. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall! I never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If there was ever a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. The facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars the SL9 is left behind. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made a detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he? Your brother. He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that day. old are you now, sir? You are 33, okay. So they were about 4 years apart? The highest honor? You mean the king of prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would have gotten suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Land of Sky. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and the second in command, Land of Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both their careers. The case ended on a transfer to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Not that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Poor Jake Marshall. Where are we going? No one's here today. Not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in their evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I'm gonna find all the answers by tomorrow. I'm trying to get to the freaking chief's room. But I don't know how to. Everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what you did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and the tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around. Okay, look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where to take the gumshoe gets its unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Ah, yes. His organs in the fucking office. Who okayed this? Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least, that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten.
They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Never could remember where C was. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, where have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office... It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out! I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied a request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. What if we just go right back in there and just break the door down? Oh. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe! Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. Sitting so long? Actually, I'm from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. Falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Alright, let's talk to Gumshoe for a bit. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His basic talent as a prosecutor is kept him safe for those who don't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? No, well, only those with talent rise to the top. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, no, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Mr. Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall who was trying to protect some girl? Me. See, Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's what left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it has something to do with the murder weapon? Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. That's a good point. So let's run through this dialogue a little to him.
Joe Dock was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just a run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident. An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? You see, look at him. He's practically a furry in this picture. He killed the man that kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then when he was burying the bodies, a jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his question, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Doc was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. Okay, let's show you the knife. About this. Hey, is that? It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from that locker. And was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, plus it had fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. It's pretty conclusive. Died from punctured heart and lung. The knife tip was in the wound. Okay. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? That's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. Chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Well, we can't do anything here. Maybe we can... I don't know. Maybe we see if Edgeworth is here? Maybe we can talk to Edgeworth. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is! It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? You sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Sure, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people I don't have all day. Okay, first of all, harsh. Second of all, fuck you. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's all. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose anything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. The fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth.
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought the case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. Wait, half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. Picture? Something seems strange about it. Could you tell us again what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this. Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up the office in the morning and then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan to return to the office that day. That is until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in the case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes.
The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding, it's a little different than yours.
Yes, you're right.
Ah, I remember now.
Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure, everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he was presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other! Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of the items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize...
Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to the conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. Suspicious. There's one more thing we have to look at in here. I wonder what he was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe at the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground! Hold on. First, let me see what that girl's doing crawling around at my feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter. If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright! Please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. I wonder if I could use it for anything. I don't think we're getting anything out of you. Okay, we'll go back. Excuse me. Oh, Angel. Will either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Star. I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked the cow's nipple to discover milk. Yeah, that's a good question. Really, how did we discover milk? How was that a thing that came about? Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to a mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Star's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. I mean, because of his brother's death. They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were part on that SL9 case. Of course they were led by the legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean, with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear while other items were kept secret. But you don't have to prove anything illegal was done. I am proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall? When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother.
If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. Which makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Star. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and that no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he can control the chief prosecutor, he can control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. How could he control Lana? I don't know. One thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Star. You listen to me, Rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Let's go to the police department entrance, and then to go see Gumshoe. Because I think that note we have from Edgewood might be just what we need. Oh, you're back! You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ! You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I had to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Oh, I think there's something we have that'll do it. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far! Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice, too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we betrayed him. Detective? That's it. I made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, they would let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case goes, depending on this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? At least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective, thank you. Let's get up to that office. Here goes, Miss Wright. Dramatic as always. We're in! If anyone finds us now, take the gumshoes and Connor. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Ah! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah! Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came through. You're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? I don't do that with my card. Fucking swear to God. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now, come on, let's see what we can find out. Got a bad feeling about this. We'll talk here a bit, maybe. I want to look around first. I guess this safe is probably a good start. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word's ripe with intrigue. Okay. if you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. I think I might just know what it is. Yeah, I think I might have a good idea too. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birth date? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. The only number that we've seen that has absolutely no explanation. And would you look at that? Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 777777. Final ID card number on that record. What? Number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 777777? That ID number? I think you're 1 7 shy this time. It's can only be one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Is there any money in there? How was the stashed away? Look, it's a shot from a broken cup. Somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else in here too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. Is that it? This is all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it, and a broken shot from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's on my neck on the line here. Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective. Well, I think we can... We have one for sure. Where is it? There it is. Hey, the gumshoe. Could you happen to look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found? You mean this one that was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Okay. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Yeah, just like that. Oh, shit! There, it fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly had knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey, guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece was just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line. That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Let's see. The piece of cloth has a handprint. The only thing to do with it now is to try and get fingerprints. Take the gumshoe. I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints? It's a great idea, detective. All right, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes.
We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh! I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Jeez, where's your sense of humor? Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Hold on, I'm gonna fucking... Oh, okay, I had to pick a print first. Which makes sense. I was gonna dust the whole thing and just say fuck it. Get all up in there. Hey, that's a pretty good print. Okay, let's see who we got. No, no, nope, 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 nope. Yeah, there we go. This is raising a lot of questions. No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, yo, over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Yeah, maybe you should hold on to this. Okay. Let's look at his desk, because he did shove something in there right as we came in. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, you two! Chief Gant! He put the paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though. Hey, look at the case name! Huh? That's Cell 9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said, I wonder what... No, about evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long? That's right. But I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. Half-size list of evidence. The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it! The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. This fucking statue. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons. Sure is, pal. Chief doesn't care for reputation. First the pipe organ, now this armor. You know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Shh, careful what you say. Who knows? The chief may be lying in his armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. I think I have an idea where we need to go next. More specifically, who we need to talk to now. What if I just... Let's present this. That's not it. Maybe this?
Whoa! Hold on. What the heck is this in the back? I wonder what this is. Looks like someone drew out a sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? Can't make it out. I better keep quiet about it for now. Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright? Uh-huh. Just the fingerprints, huh? Okay. Maybe I have to go see Edgeworth for the other half of the list, maybe? For this... Ugh, excuse me. I didn't bother checking this. Let me see this. Hey, look here. It's hard to make out, but there's a dark red stain here. Looks like blood. This piece the chief has is different, though. Blood stains on the other piece are just spots, but this one's a line. That is odd. Guess I can't do anything with it. Okay. Whoa. I'm stumped as to where to go now. I guess when in doubt, go to... I don't know, I guess we'll go back to the frickin'... back to... Maybe we didn't finish looking around at Chief Scan office. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yes, that's right, I was waiting for Lana on that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. You practice the strict policy of preserving the crime scene. It's a strange reason to leave it here. Use it as a warning to everyone else. Wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at a New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk. No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes? I mean, that's the only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why'd you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be... No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay, now then let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, you're supposed to stop bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that. Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Okay, yeah, I probably had to exhaust his dialogue before I could do anything. Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Okay, yeah, so I had to talk to... Go choose what it was. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the code? Chief Gant! We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. And just then I thought of a certain detective.
Do you mean me, sir?
Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Oh, you in the coat.
Me, sir?
Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore.
But, sir.
Now get out.
Yes, sir.
We'll be on our way too then. Wait, you, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet.
Me, sir?
I'd like a word with you.
But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet.
You with the spiky hair, you're free to go.
Mr. Wright!
Oh dear, that's worrying.
Look, pal, if I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits.
No, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired.
Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it.
Now that I've seen the evidence, Chief Gant is hiding his office. I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. Why has she kept eerily silent about this all this time?
Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal.
After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'd be busy for the rest of the day. Okay, so it auto puts me here. I was on the right track, I was just missing crucial flag trips. I see. The chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. No use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. Seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you were unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say. So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. What the? For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name? Oh yeah, it puts me right on his profile. Thank you. Well, Miss Sky? Stop watching chat for the James Cheater. I didn't watch. That one genuinely surprised me. If it looks like I'm looking at chat, it's because I'm looking like to the side over like... If I turn my head slightly... It's like I'm forward here. I'm only slightly turned here. Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he was respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes?
Hydration is important.
Oh, trust me, I've been drinking this whole time. Almost out of water, actually. Both you and Edgeworth were brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was ever mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. I'm gonna go ahead and say the fucking jar. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. I guess I could have presented either of them. I don't know. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright, you can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident. Serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoe as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective with evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma. I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean... Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He already stolen the RD card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? Man, talk about a domino effect there. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana! You've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any farther in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago? Okay. I realize we're essentially at the finish line, but I say we call it there. Because nothing's better than a good cliffhanger, in my opinion. But yeah, I think we're going to call it there. And we will pick this up sometime next week. Also, I'm tired. My back, I'm unintentionally sitting in a weird position. My back's starting to feel it. So, we will call it there for today. And I think we'll probably set this up for like a Wednesday stream. Because all we have left, I think, is the court case and epilogue. So that shouldn't take too long. So we can finish it up there. And we won't have to wait like a whole other week. But anyway. Thank you everyone for coming out and everyone who came out. Thanks for sticking around if you did. As always. And that wraps up another Friday night stream. And our next stream will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. I think it should be at 6 p.m., yeah. Well, we'll be playing the puppet-based horror game, My Friendly Neighborhood, which came out, I think, like last week and a half ago, something like that. Pretty recently this month. I'm excited to try it out. So it seems to be, from what I've seen, not a typical first-person horror game. You actually have like a means of defense. So I'm curious about it and see what it's about. So if you're interested with that game, by all means, come in and check it out tomorrow. And then, of course, as always, Sunday we'll... Jesus Christ. We will check out the, or I will put up a schedule Sunday, as always, for next week. But anyway, that will happen tomorrow, so by all means, I hope to see you all there. But until then, everyone take care. Have a good night, as always. And I will see you in the next stream. But until then, goodbye and good night.